Shalom, shalom. Greetings to you all in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, wherever you are. It is a blessed day that the Lord has granted us, and I believe the only reason why God blesses us with a day is to demonstrate His love and teach us His ways and help us discover what He thinks, what He wants, what He desires in our lives is actually that special. People have to understand there's nothing bad. And you see, people have not known God. And that's the most important thing that you have to discover later, is that God is not known. It's not known, and we have imagined a lot of things pertaining to God that is not real. All right. But when we get to know God, we'll find out that God is not what people have thought Him to be. He is God. He is special. He is different. He is amazing. He's never been evil. There's nothing evil in Him. There's no dark cloud in God. There's nothing like that. But you see, men fell and they thought God has also fallen. Men fell in their mindset and in their understanding. They dragged themselves. They carried the idea that, oh, maybe God is that evil. God is fighting them. God is punishing them here, this or that. But it's not true. God is not punishing you, or He's for you. He's for you. No, look, if anything that is an interest of God is salvation, unless God does not save. Why? Because salvation is a factor as far as love is concerned, because love does not kill, love saves. So if God is love, then He's talking about salvation. So it's a salvific connotation that love has will be expressed through salvation. So salvation is an act of love. It's not because you paid for something. Salvation as an act of love. Because many people have thought, well, God is saving us as an act of justice, necessary. Even justice is an act of love. You have to understand that if God is love, anything that is of God has to be seen in those lenses. If we don't see it that way, we'll have imagined the wrong God, and we then came up with the wrong conclusions. We have to make the right conclusion. Thank God for His wisdom and what He's doing and what He does today in our lives. Glory to God forevermore. Now, in the book of Proverbs, chapter 5 is talking about wisdom. He spoke a lot about wisdom and the advantages of wisdom. That's what we've been learning. And there's still much, of course, to learn from there. If we are open, we'll realize there's so much that's in those chapters. The Bible is loaded with wisdom, and that wisdom is necessary. Verse 7 says, in chapter 5, verse 7 says, therefore hear me now, my children, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Right? Therefore hear me now, my children, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. It's talking about, therefore hear me now, my children. What is he saying? That hear me now, my children. He's saying that we should listen to him. Still is insisting on us hearing him. Therefore, hear me now, my children, hear me now, my children, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. He says, please do not lose what I've said. Take it seriously. Consider what I've said as important. And it's so serious, it's so important. If you neglect what you've heard from me, you will not be spared as well. You will definitely destroy yourselves. And this is called by Prophet Hosea the rejection of knowledge. And rejection of knowledge is the cause of the people perishing, because it says my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And then it says apart from the lack of knowledge, then and he explains rather the lack of knowledge. He says not because knowledge didn't come, but knowledge came and was rejected. So when knowledge is rejected, what happens? So in verse 8 he says, remove your way far from her. Still talking about that image of that immoral woman, or immoral ways, or immoral. That means something that is opposite to truth, to right things. It's the contrary of life. It is death in itself. It's darkness. It's talking about all that packaged in one word: immorality. Remove your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house. So you see, it says establish some systems that will help you, because the moment you get closer to her house, the environment is so important. I've seen people who do not understand the power of environment. Some people, in their foolishness, they will tell you that it doesn't matter. Me or finding myself in a certain place, an environment that is toxic, for instance, as long as I'm not them, as long as I'm not doing it. Well, let me reveal you something through this verse, because it will help you. This is wisdom. Remove your way far from her. Why is he saying far from her? I'll explain. And do not go near the door of her house. Why he's saying that don't come close or near the door of her house. You see? It says, lest you give your honor to others and your years to the cruel one. Now, I want to explain to you what happens and why it's important for you to establish yourself, to establish or create what I may call the system around you. Wisdom advises us to create or build systems around us that will help us. For instance, a house, a building, a house where you stay or where you sleep. It is a system. What consists of that system is that in that house there's a place where you go for rest. It's a restroom, a bedroom, sitting room, or a kitchen. And if you look into these rooms, every room serves a purpose. It means it is an established system to help you. You see, in the house, it's not just a place where you sleep. It's a place where you do also other necessary things. It's actually a system built around you to enable you to do certain things. You see what I mean? Now, suppose you are sleeping on the outside and there's no shelter, you are exposed to many things, especially in darkness. There will be evil. Evil can befall you. It can rain in the night. Then you are not preserved from that rain. There are animals, for instance. There are evil people who can take advantage of you in the night. Or there are many other dangers that you are exposed to. Much as being in the house does not mean necessarily that you're exempted from all evil or from all dangers, but at least you have that is the best security that you have created around you. You see what I mean? So building a system around you will help you be where you're supposed to be or do what you're supposed to do. That means it's wisdom. So having a house or building a house is a system that may establish, of course, but that's very helpful because it will establish this system security or any other thing that man will need, and it will help him, fulfill certain things he has to fulfill in his life. Now, you understand now that the environment is so important. You cannot expose yourself in the night outside there. You are in danger. Anything can harm you, right? So we build houses, so people want to stay in certain houses and places because they are more safe and more secure there. Why is that people close their doors when they are about to sleep? You see, I'm still explaining to you the importance of the environment where you find yourself, or the power of the environment to help you out. Now, you cannot choose to expose yourself to the cold in the night. You cannot expose yourself to that danger if you are able to see it. You see what I mean? If you look at the road, for instance, you know that it is used by cars and vehicles and anything in that category. When you are even crossing the road, you look into that zebra crossing, the place which was reserved for men to cross over. Otherwise, you cannot just sleep in the road. That's very dangerous because the environment is also important. So now he's actually advising that people may do what? Learn to secure themselves around and consider the environment to be a factor as well. So he says, remove your way far from her. Why is he saying that? He's saying, you might say, for me, I'm so strong enough. I'll just go along with her as long as I don't touch her or she doesn't touch me. But you see, you are exposing yourself to danger. Because every time the environment is toxic, you are most likely going to be toxicated as well. If the environment is full of strife, you are most likely going to receive or experience the same thing. You know what I mean? If you are in a certain place and that place is so cold, you will get cold. If the place is so hot, you will feel the heat. You know what I mean? So environment is important. So what is he saying here? He says, remove your way far from her. In other words, build a system around you that you will not expose yourself. But have you had some stupid thoughts and ideas from people who have not thought it well, and they are like, you know what? It doesn't matter. You just get inside as long as you don't touch it, or it's okay. But that environment itself is enough to intoxicate you. So the reason why we also choose the environment where we want to be and where we're not supposed to be is for our security. For our safety, because environment can intoxicate you. Simple. That is what I was trying to explain, and this is what we see here. And do not get near the door of her house. Why is he saying that don't get near? Because the moment you get near, she has you. She can influence you. She can use her tricks and get you. Anything is possible. The moment you expose yourself in a certain environment, anything is possible. But many people will say, it doesn't matter, as long as you begin like that. But eventually you end regretting, and you'll be so shocked at the kind of stupidity, the stupid thoughts or ideas you entertained in your mind and in your heart. Brothers and sisters, we are called to learn the ways of wisdom, whereby we consider the environment also as a factor. Shalom, shalom.